We're ready, so welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com or go to our TV station at IndianCountryTV.com and check out the featured projects and videos we have there for your viewing pleasure. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. City officials have ignored another protest over the city's decision to destroy a stone mound on a hill behind the Oxford Exchange created by American Indians 1,500 years ago. Tony Castaneda of Anniston and Sharon Jackson of Fruithurst, Alabama, who claim to be Indian elders, presented Mayor Leon Smith with a petition July 6th there in Oxford, Alabama, containing more than 600 signatures of people opposed to the site's destruction. The Anniston Star reported July 7th Smith became agitated when the two arrived at City Hall, took the petition, and went back inside. Castaneda and Jackson collected more signatures at City Hall that evening. The State Historical Commission says the mound is the largest of its kind in Alabama, or at least was. The city paid to have part of the hill taken down for fill for a new Sam's Club nearby. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Indian Health Service today announced $90 million in funds for the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 for improved access to vital drinking water and wastewater services in the American Indian Alaskan Native communities. The funds will be invested in shovel-ready infrastructure projects designed to better protect human environmental health in Indian country and to help create jobs. Continuing a tradition spanning 20 years, EPA and Indian Health Service combine efforts to improve water services in Indian country, contributed to the identification of 95 wastewater and 64 drinking water priority projects to be completed by IHS's Sanitation Facilities Construction Program through the EPA Recovery Act funds. The projects exceed the Recovery Act requirement that 20% of the funds be used for green infrastructure, water and energy efficiency improvements, and other environmentally innovative projects. The University of Alaska Fairbanks Rural Alaska Honors Institute is honoring 65 students at a graduation ceremony July 8th in the Great Hall in the Fine Arts Complex. The students participating in this year's program come from 43 communities across Alaska. They spent 6 weeks living in residence halls, building their academic skills and learning firsthand about college life, and they earned up to 10 college credits as well. Organized in 1983 at the request of the Alaska Federation of Natives, RAHI aims to help increase college success for rural and Alaska Native students. Hundreds of graduates have gone on to earn graduate, bachelor, and associate degrees. Many have joined Alaska's professional workforce, and many more are pursuing their post-secondary education. Oklahoma state revenue from casinos operated by Indian tribes increased by nearly 30% in fiscal year 2009, in part because of the opening of a large new casino, according to figures provided by the Oklahoma Office of State Finance. Revenue from tribal gaming activity rose to $105 million in 2009. The fiscal year 2008 total was $81.4 million, state finance officials said. The 2009 fiscal year figures represent revenues earned by the tribes from June 2008 through May 2009. 3 of the 7 tribes that operate Northeast Oklahoma casinos contributed more this fiscal year than last, while the other tribes contributed less to the state than they did the previous fiscal year. Under an agreement between the tribes and the state, the tribes provide 4% to 6% of revenues from electronic games and 10% of revenues from table games to the state, according to Derek Campbell, gaming compliance head with the Office of State Finance. All the tribes are under this same agreement. The Lumbee tribe wants to change the name of the river that winds through its ancestral lands in North Carolina. The tribal council passed an ordinance last month to ask the state legislature to change the name of the Lumber River to the Lumbee River. The name change to Lumbee gives credence and recognition to the river and its ancestral inhabitants and the role it has played in the development of the region, said Lawrence Locklear, a former tribal council member who wrote the ordinance. The river was named in 1809 by state lawmakers who also established the Lumber River Navigation Company to help move wood and other goods through southeastern North Carolina and into the PD River in South Carolina, according to Locklear. The name seems to have been changed solely for business purposes, Locklear said. The Indians living in the area called it the Lumbee River before the law, and many still do today, Locklear said. The tribe adopted the name Lumbee in 1952 because of what their people called the river there. Workers have completed nearly one-third of a six-phase, $4.42 million project to develop the Cherokee Nation's first national park in northeastern Oklahoma. The jewel of the 14-acre Saline National Park is the 125-year-old Saline District Courthouse, named for its proximity to Salt Wells. Placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1976, the two-story building is the only one of the 9 19th century Cherokee Nation courthouses left, according to reports. Justices handled misdemeanor and civil cases there, while more serious cases were taken up to Tahlequah. The tribe disbanded the district courthouse system at about the turn of the 20th century. The Saline building was sold and used as a residence until about 1970. The 2005 master plan for the property includes spring house and pond restoration, fences along the road and a cemetery, a memorial trail, courthouse restoration, an entire drive and parking lot, and a construction of a learning center. The federal environmental officials have agreed to let a Wisconsin tribe to set its own water quality standards. The Bad River Band of Lake Superior Chippewa will set quality standards for state discharge permits issued for on-reservation facilities such as sewage plants. The state must follow the tribe's standards when it issues permits to facilities upstream of the reservation, since any discharges would flow into the reservation. The standards will be subject to U.S. Environmental Protection Agency approval. Two other Wisconsin tribes, the Secaucus Chippewa and the Lac du Flambeau Band, have their own standards as well. In 2012, the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico will turn 50, and leading up to that date each decade since the Institute's founding will be celebrated at an annual gala event. This year, the CE 70s, the Revolution Continues, kicks off on Wednesday, August 19th at the historic La Fonda Hotel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Tickets start at only $125 per person, and table sponsorships are also available. You can call 505-424-2310 to reserve a spot now, since sponsors are saying that last year's event sold out 3 weeks early. All proceeds will benefit Native American student scholarships. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast, and you for joining with us again today. You have a great day out there wherever you happen to be. Miigwech.